Battlefield 6 is rounding off its very first beta weekend, and I am absolutely loving the game. Super stoked for the next weekend of the open beta. But one thing I want to talk about here is how some of the guns maybe feel a little weaker than others, despite the fact what their profile is. For example, a light machine gun maybe not feeling as strong as a submachine gun, or an assault rifle really not feeling as tight as it should. And in this video today, in my typical fashion of upfronting the knowledge of my videos, let me give you the down and dirty of what we'll be getting into. Basically, as it exists within the game, there is a set damage fall-off point at exactly, or roughly, I guess is probably a better way to put it, 21 meters. At a 20 meter mark, your gun is going to fire just as effectively as it would at 10. But as soon as you go 1 meter away, you're going to notice a pretty drastic drop in damage for only the assault rifle and the light machine gun. They're going to have over a 20% drop in damage versus the submachine gun, which will have just over a 10% drop in damage. As a result, the firing rate of a submachine gun allows it to feel much stronger through a wide variety of ranges compared to an assault rifle and an LMG, which have a drastic damage fall off and not a comparable amount of rate of fire. And I've personally found that the majority of what we're playing map-wise in the open beta for Battlefield 6 has seen engagements happening more in the 10 to 30 meter range than the 30 to 60 meter range. Of course, there's exceptions and there's portions of maps that is not true. But I'm just saying in general, we spent so much time in a lot closer quarters than I would have thought for a Battlefield game. So that's the long and short of this entire video. That's the too long didn't watch of everything. I'm just going to jump into the firing range, show what those damage values are from an actual numbers standpoint, so you get the statistics of it and you can draw your own conclusions of what have you. And I also understand that what I'm going to be showing you is in a vacuum. That, of course, the context of being in the actual game is going to change how these numbers are actually played with. No one's going to just statically stand there and let you be shot. But this is to show you how these numbers are actually reflected in the game. Again, that's the too long and didn't watch of this entire video. If that's all you wanted to know, then please feel free to shut the video down. I want to be respectful of your time. You can also navigate to any part of this video that interests you the most using the chat prism with the timeline and the description. And if you are heading out and you found the information in this video helpful, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. Each one of those things, they help me out in such a huge way. Lastly, if you want to watch me stream the game, I am streaming it on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, but we're also playing Warframe, Baldur's Gate, and plenty of other things. But let's get started here on why your gun feels so weak in Battlefield 6. So just jumping into everything here, let's take a look at the light machine gun. And for this video, I will swap to the class that is specialized in those weapons so that cannot be used as an argument against the observations of this. So we're looking right now on a support class using the L110. Now, of course, with the L110, you can modify everything on the right over here. And keep in mind too, when you're looking at that stat page, when you press C, you can see more information. Muzzle velocity is on here at 975 meters a second, and for some reason my cursor doesn't line up with where it is on the screen, but that's kind of funky. I can change that all I want, and we'll do a portion with that, and it's not going to change anything. Let's go to the firing range. So we know that these are our markers for 10, 15, 20 meters. Those are the ones that we're going to be looking at here because they're going to show you how that damage fall off happens and why I think this is too drastic depending on the weapon type. As I repeat myself 5 times like every other shitty YouTuber. So here is the chest shot for this weapon. 25 damage right there. Now we're going to go over here. Let me show you this. 25 damage right here, right? If I look at the 20 meter one, that says 20 damage. If I square up on it, because you know we're aiming at an angle, so it's increased range, that's 25 damage. If I pretty much stand behind this rubber mat, it's 20 damage. So I lose 5 points of damage moving from 10 meters to 20 meters to let's just call it 21. Let's say that from here to here makes it 21 meters. That is a 5 damage fall off, right? That's pretty substantial. That's more than a 20% drop in damage. Now, if I look over at this one, I'm just going to stand in the respective aisle for these. That's 20 damage. So to go an additional 10 meters is no drop off. Even if I go, see, even an additional 1 extra meter, no drop off. If I shoot all the way back here at that 40 meter one, there's no drop off. So I lose over 20% damage to start attacking in a range that should be technically very effective for a light machine gun. And another further example would this be this guy back here. That's still 20 damage. So between these 2 points, there is a huge drop in damage. Now, let's take a look at an assault rifle, another one that should have good effective range within the 20 to 40 meter range. And just to quickly talk about the muzzle velocity as well. So we set the muzzle velocity over here to 975. This is going to be changed by swapping to this barrel, which is going to drop it to 780. So let's see if there's any difference. It's back to 975. That'll be our baseline, our control as it were. And we'll do the same exact experiment, right? So we go here, that's 25. Back here, that's 20. So those are our 2 damage values, 20 and 25. And just for sake of argument, downrange is 20 as well. And we'll edit that loadout, swap to a different barrel, which is going to drop our muzzle velocity to 780. Theoretically, lower muzzle velocity should cause a higher damage drop off because the bullet is not traveling as fast, as far, as long, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, I'm not a physicist. So the first shot here in the center, 25 for the 10 meter range. This one here, 20 again, and then downrange. So as I said, there's no way to influence this damage drop-off value. And that, I think, is one of the biggest issues. We can't do anything with this through muzzle velocity. It is simply locked to the weapon type, either an SMG or a light machine gun, because they all have the same exact qualities as far as whatever a light machine gun has, but they'll have maybe different damage values as a virtue of the specific light machine gun. But that damage drop-off is going to be roughly the same percentage per individual weapon type, weapon category. So we're over here on assault. We're going to switch over here to an assault rifle, and we'll just choose this one because it's whatever, right? It doesn't matter what the actual weapon itself is. We're looking at the actual fall and damage. Looking at the 10 meter mark, it's 25, and this is going to be, oops, well, let me step back here. That's going to be 20. You can see that drop in damage effectiveness. It's pretty much the same as a light machine gun. Even if I were to take a look at this one, which is considered a heavier hitting assault rifle, you're going to see this go from 27 all the way down to 21. And here is what just grabs my nuts and shakes. So this is 27 at 10 meters. This one all the way the hell out there, whatever that is. I don't know if that's supposed to be 100 meters or 7. I think it's 70. I don't know. There's that over there, but the numbers change depending on how far out you are. So 70 meters is 20 points of damage with this. And this is supposed to be an assault rifle, right? So this is 20, this is 21, and this is, 27. That's a wild damage fall off, and it's the same damage fall off no matter what. Every single weapon is going to have 10, 21, and then another one maybe at like, I don't know, like 41 or something like that. It should have a better curve. If I'm using an assault rifle, this should be maybe 27, but this should not be, in this case again, an over 20% damage drop. At that range, it should be a less of drastic damage drop, if at all, right? Like 20 meters, no one pulls out an assault rifle and go, he says might be too far away, he's 20 meters away, right? Like if we're looking at a real world practical example, an M16's effective range is like over 550 meters. I know this is not the real world, so it's not really fair to compare those things. So let's take a look at one more example, and it's why I even am having this conversation. Switching over to engineer, we have our SMG. And this is what brought up this entire point of this video, because I was originally saying that the SMG is overtuned. It needs to have a slight drop in its damage numbers, and the LMG is undertuned. It needs an increase in its damage numbers. And I think that really, it's not necessarily that either gun needs an increase or a decrease in its damage numbers. I think it's that the effective range or the damage fall off for the SMG needs to be more drastic, and it needs to be more gradual for the LMG. That is the whole entire point of this video, really. So if we select this, go here, firing range. This point right here is 20 points of damage. This over here is 20 points of damage. I hit twice on accident. Shooting back here, I'm going to switch this in a single fire. That's only 3 damage less, right? So that's just barely over 10%. That is the point. Everything drops over 20% in its damage value, except for the SMG, which drops just a little over 10%. And by comparison, too, if I would just go, oh, well, that was way less accurate than I thought it would be. I can probably just kill this thing just way faster than the LMG, for sure, at 20 meters. And I'm going to tie the assault rifle, right? The assault rifle is going to have a pretty comparable fire rate to SMGs, depending on which one. But I can kill this just so much faster. The time to kill on the SMG is through the roof within 20 meters. Of course, right? If I'm going to jump out to something like this, my time to kill is going to be a lot longer, and my damage fall off is no different at all. And that's another point I wanted to make. That's finally going to experience damage fall off over there. So there is a little bit of a damage fall off at different ranges. And one important thing to take a look at here with this video, like I said in the introduction, is that everything here is within a vacuum. You're not firing at targets in this game. You're firing at people who are running at different they're running in a slanted direction. You're shooting into the side of them, so your hit detection is going to hit their arm and maybe their chest and maybe a leg or maybe their head. So all of these things are going to change. Of course, I understand that. But my point is that if we're just looking at the base numbers between 20, well, that should be 17, right? 20, 17, and then 14. This has a better gradual curve, even though I don't like the curve. This has a better gradual curve than a light machine gun or assault rifle, which has a huge 20% drop and then stays flat. So I think that the guns need to have a similar fall off. Either have it be, hey, I'm going to spike really high because I'm a submachine gun and then I'm going to drop drastically, or I'm a light machine gun, or I am a assault rifle, and I am going to take a better gradual curve because of my muzzle velocity, because of the nature of my weapon, the fact that my barrel is longer, all these things. They're not quite factored in. And I don't know if that is a symptom of the beta and that is something to come, but it's something that's worth talking about now, because all it is a simple balance change, right? This isn't something fundamentally wrong with the bones and structure of the game. But I think this is why maybe you're playing the game and you're feeling like, I'm playing on an engineer and I feel like I can just murk people, or I'm playing on assault and I'm not using the shotgun, because we all know if you're using the shotgun, you can just headshot someone at 45 meters. Not really, but still. I'm using assault or whatnot, and I'm just really not killing people as well as when I'm on engineer. Or engineer, definitely, if I'm on support, I cannot put people down as fast as I can on engineer. Yes, fire rate is one thing, but that damage fall off coupled with the firing rate is why your gun feels so weak, especially if you're playing support as compared to engineer, which is the two classes I play the most. So go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. Are you experiencing this? Is this 100% a skill issue? And it could be, but I think that these are pretty set, obvious numbers. We can see percentages, we can see the damage, right? Because we're not guessing. I know that that says 20 and this says 17, and I know that 10% of 20 is 2 and the number is 3, so it's just a little bit over 10% versus 20 versus 25. We know that's just over 20%. So those are the numbers that I'm talking about. And I want to know how you feel. Have you felt underpowered playing as an engineer or playing as a support, playing as a recon? Because I didn't talk about recon at all, but I guess just for the sake of an argument here, right? Like taking a look at the DMR. DMR's fall off is 38, 38, but wait for it, 33, 33, and then 33. Now you can of course change all the, you can press B to change everything, and that does affect stuff. And it's on a sniper rifle, it's actually a little bit different. The damage fall off spikes towards the end. These targets, you have increased damage with the sniper rifle versus these targets. And that has to do more with like the zeroing portion of it, but that's a whole other conversation. So again, let me know in the comment section below. Are you experiencing this? Is this a skill issue? Would you like this changed? What weapon has felt the weakest for you in your experience with the first weekend of Battlefield 6? But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.